Hi, my name is Samanja and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to create a web server. Why do we need to learn server-side programming in JavaScript? That is because it is extremely important. Server-side programming is used to create dynamic websites. Most major websites use some kind of server-side technology to dynamically display data as required. For example, Amazon.com is not a static website. Pages are updated dynamically according to each user requirement. This is why learning how to create a server in JavaScript is highly important. So let's start creating our web server. So let's create a file first. I'm going to call it server.js, but you can call it whatever you want. There is no naming convention, but it is always a good idea to keep the name simple. So let's create, let's import something called an HTTP library. This is a built-in library in Node.js. It's also called a module. Okay, this is a built-in module or library in Node.js. And what is the functionality of HTTP is that HTTP request, it works as a transportation method between a client application and a server. The client submits an HTTP request to the server, and after working through the message, the server sends a response back. So let's start. Let's keep the port simple too. We want the server to run in a port, and as per usual, 3000 is the most common port number. So I'm gonna keep for 3000. Okay, so let's create our server. In order to create our server, we have to use the built-in method that comes with the HTTP library called a create server. And we can pass in the function inside the library, request response. Notice response, this sends the this sends the status of the request, and all server-side code is going to take place inside this function, inside the constant server, all server-side code. Now let's listen to our server. Okay, we can use the .listen method, built-in method, to listen to our port, to listen to the server on port 3000. Okay, and now let's catch any error through this function. So let's catch any error through this function. So if there is an error and the server does not listen on port 3000, we can console log error. We can console log error exists, and we can see the error that exists inside by passing in the error. And if there is no error, we would like to console log that server is listening on port plus port. Okay, so let's see what's happening in here. Let's start our server with node server.js. Oh, we have to cd into the file. I have created a folder called server in here, and let me cd into the server. Okay. Okay, server is listening on port 3000. But as you can see, our server is not really doing anything. Let's make our server do something. Okay, let's make our server do something. Call it hello world. And we have to end this too. Okay, so let's see. Local host 3000. Let's see. Oh, I forgot. We always have to restart our server in case we make any changes to it. Oh, hello world. See? So, I know what you're thinking. What is hello world even going to do? We have to pass in HTML codes. We have to pass in real codes into the server and make the server listen in a port. We can definitely do that. Let me create an HTML file. Call it index.html. Okay, so this is an index.html file where we'll create all our HTML code and pass it into the server in here. So how do we do that? At first, this HTML file, we can generate all the boilerplate code automatically by exclamation mark, by putting an exclamation mark here and enter. Again, let me stop that. Okay. So again, how is it done? Exclamation mark and enter. And in the body section, we can put H1, anything we want, okay? We want the body section, all the data in this to show up in our port 3000. Okay, so welcome to my channel. Save it. Now we need to import something called a file system in here. In order to read the file, the index.html file, we should import a file system library, and we're going to import it just like we imported our HTTP library by constant fs require. This is the file system library. And when we do import it, we have to make sure we tell the server that we want it to read an HTML file. So in order to tell the server, we use this method called the write head. And in the write head method, if everything is okay, that is, if the status code 200 means everything is okay, then we want our server to read content type text HTML. We want it to read an HTML file. So fs, again, built-in method, read file. Which file do we want it to read? Our index.html. And what if it can't find the file and there's an error? Again, we're going to pass in the error function. And we can also pass the data in case there is no error. So if there is an error, we can console log for status code 404, which means there is an error. It couldn't find the file. So again, console log could not locate the file. But if there is no error, then we can just send the data. Response.write. We could just write whatever data there is inside the file. And we have to end it as per convention. We have to end it outside here. Okay, so we should be able to read our HTML file now, any data inside this file. So again, remember, we have to stop the server and start it again anytime we change our server-side code. So let's start. Okay, let's open localhost 3000. Welcome to my channel. Okay, now just for the fun of it, let's change some codes in here and let's see if it's rendering in our local host. Background color, let's put aqua, okay? Let's see. Server, again, extremely important, although we didn't make any changes to the server here, but still. Let's see. Oh, nice. Okay, thank you. And stick around for more JavaScript, very important JavaScript codes.